Right, welcome to the Blackpool Business Growth Academy. My name's Ged Mills. I'm here today with Nikki Hesford. Nikki, welcome along. I want to first of all start by thanking you because you are part of our growth as part of content creators, and we've just started on this, journey together as part of the business growth plan. But what is the Blackpool Business Growth Academy?
So the Business Growth Academy is a business support program. So we support all types of businesses as long as that business is located and pays their business rates to Blackpool Council. And that can be people who are planning to start up a business, people who are already running a business. That type of support has been around for a while. But a lot of people aren't aware that we now support growth businesses and scale up. So businesses that are, we've got some businesses at 30 million turnover. So this isn't for tiny, tiny little businesses. It's for those businesses that already have premises, that have teams.
So it's really important, isn't it? Because we touched on how Blackpool Limited traditionally started with startup businesses. And again, I went through that process with Blackpool Unlimited a couple of years ago, started out, went through the loan process of getting some finance and help and business plans and, the traditional, I haven't got a business, how do I get one? Now, in terms of us and the growth, we've now obviously done that. We've got some team members. But like you said about the growth side of it, this is where it's really important, is it's not just for traditional startups or startups that have been a year old, 2 year. We're talking growth in 10-year, 20-year businesses.
And more,
Right.
We have one business that's like 78 years old,
Right.
Which is multi-generation, that's now like the grandchildren that are running the business. And we see that a lot with family businesses, generational businesses that was founded by granny and granddad, then it was mum and dad, now it's the grandchildren that are taking over. And quite often they have new ideas, there's ways that they want to take it. Sometimes they want to modernise it, digitalise things, and, they've now got free reign of taking it over themselves and they want to take it in a whole new direction. And that's often when they come to us and say, I need help with sales, I need help with commercial, I need help with digital marketing, I want to start selling online. The company for forever has sold into Tesco or into the high street, and we've realised that we can get so much more margin if we sell to the consumer as well, but we just don't know where to start.
So what are the big benefits of coming to you guys?
I always say to people, if you don't want to grow your business, then you probably don't want to come to this service. But who doesn't want to grow the business? Everyone wants to grow the business. And even if they don't want to grow the size of the business, they probably want to increase the profitability, because why would anyone not want to? And I always say to people, if you wanted to learn how to play the guitar, you'd go and get lessons. If you wanted to learn how to become a weightlifter, you'd go to classes. So why wouldn't somebody do the same thing for their business? And sometimes people, maybe believe or subconsciously think that maybe, they're too big to need support. They already know quite a lot. They've already been in business for 20 years and have won awards and stuff like that. And I always say, well, Tyson Fury still has a coach. Simone Biles still has a coach. What could anyone possibly teach Simone Biles about gymnastics? And yet she still has a coach every single day. And it's about that improvement, that 1%, that 0.5%, just pushing those boundaries and trying to get bigger, better, more profitable, more lean, more slick. And those types of businesses, are the ones that succeed, the ones that stick around.
Yeah. It's not just for the founder or the owner, though, this, which I found really interesting when we looked more into it as well. You can, if you're the founder and maybe wanting to, like say, a 78-year-old business, you might be wanting to sort of move away a little bit. But like I say, the new management team coming in place, is that for them as well?
Absolutely. So for senior leadership teams, and we see this quite a lot, where an owner might be looking towards retirement, they're looking at that succession planning, and they've got a manager or a senior leadership team in place who need to step up. They might have never managed people before. They say that around 82% of managers are accidental managers, so people who have been promoted due to their technical competency, but they've never actually been trained to manage people. And business owners ourselves, you and I, we manage people, but we've not actually worked our way up to become a manager. It's our business, that's why we manage people. So there's also a lot of people in that situation as well who are managing people but have never had any sort of official leadership and management training. So we can help with that. But senior leadership teams, I was at an event today, and I think what triggered with one person is, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, what would happen to my business? Because we find a lot of businesses, especially those well-established ones, all the information is in the founder's head. So it's those systems, those processes. And I always give the example of McDonald's. It doesn't matter what McDonald's you go to in the world, your burger's going to look the same because it's the same amount of ketchup, the same amount of onions, the cheese goes on in the same way. And they can train anybody, 15, 16-year-old kids, anybody, because they all follow the same process, the same quality control systems. So it all comes out the same product and the same service every time. You know, there's not a founder of McDonald's, is there, hovering over people checking that it's been done right. But yet that's what often happens in SMEs. The owner is always having to hover around checking that things are being done properly. So we help them put in those systems and processes where things can be checked from a bird's eye view without them being in the business, which then allows them to work on the business.
Yeah, so there you go. So it's not just for founders or owners, it's also, you can put management teams through it as well, which is really good. What are the sort of specialist areas then that the Academy can help people with?
So we've got around 12 different specialist coaches with different areas. So if you're unfortunate enough to get me, then it will be sort of Facebook ads, e-commerce, digital marketing. So I'm a Facebook ad specialist and I've been doing that for 15 years or so. But we have specialists in lean manufacturing, construction, finance, commercial, sales, other types of marketing. We've got specialists in all different areas. And even if there was an area where it's quite niche, we don't come across it very often, like HR sometimes. Sometimes people want HR and there's not enough need for it for us to have somebody on the books all of the time. So we can bring somebody in. We have a network of associates who we can just bring in on an ad hoc basis if there is a specialist need that's quite unusual and doesn't crop up that often. So
obviously the Blackpool Growth Business Academy, part of Blackpool Council, we talked a little bit about businesses, you know, wanting to grow. We always need a bit of profitability. But of course, for Blackpool itself and for the town and for the council, this is really important, isn't it? And I suppose for the economical value of the whole area.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when I tell people it's fully funded, people kind of go, you know, what does that mean? And I don't like the word free, because free indicates...
I do, Nikki, I do. Come on.
When you say free, it kind of implies that nobody's paying for it. If somebody is paying for this support, in fact, you're already paying for it with your corporation tax, with your taxes that you pay. You've already paid for this support. And so somebody is paying our invoices, it's just not you. And so when you say free, people kind of, the value of it maybe isn't perceived in the same way. But, you know, Blackpool is an area that's kind of struggled with deprivation over the years. A lot of time and money and effort with the enterprise zone, with construction, with, you know, what's going on. And so the business support supplements that. It's all very well and good, you know, having new premises and new roads. But if the business isn't growing and you don't have that knowledge to continue pushing the business forward.
Okay, so why do businesses need to scale up then? You know, for some businesses, they might go, well, I'm happy ticking along. But why do businesses need to scale up, in your opinion?
It's funny, we have had this a few times where businesses have said, oh, I'm all right as I am, we're really busy, the phone's ringing off the hook, I just don't have the time to deal with it. And then 6 months later, they get in touch. The order book's dried up, the phone stopped ringing, I don't know how I'm going to keep everyone occupied next week. And so I thought you were absolutely rushed off your feet. You know, you said, yeah, I know that was then, this is now. And it becomes apparent then that there isn't a future pipeline, there isn't a future plan. It's reactive. It's reactive to what is happening that particular week. And there's no forward planning or forward thinking of, okay, it's great that we're really busy this month, but what work have we got coming in next month? What about in 3 months' time? And businesses can often fall into that trap. So it's so important to be proactive rather than reactive.
So we'll talk about some of the businesses that you've already helped. One of them is ours. We've had one session already, and you know, cracking the whip already on. Have you done your homework? Yes, we have. But ours was, you know, I see you talked about digital marketing, that's our company, but you talked about Facebook ads and stuff. But the first thing you did was kind of try to understand our businesses and some pain points and just allocating things for us to do, which was, you know, monitoring our serviced hours, for example. You know, being a service-based business is, if a client comes to us and goes, well, actually, what are you doing for that money? We then can show people what we're doing with that money, which we've already implemented. I can say it's been a game changer. I swore them. It's been a game changer for us. So other businesses that you've kind of helped and maybe some advice, give you some examples of those people and maybe kind of what have you done already?
Yeah. So systems and processes are those things that people are just, they're a bit boring, aren't they? On
Oh,
the
yeah,
surface,
rubbish, yeah.
They seem boring.
Yeah.
So if I was to say to you, right, Ged, we're going to do this program, we're going to really work on like spreadsheets and systems
Yeah.
and processes, you'd be like, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But actually, when you see the benefit of it, you know, if I'd have said to you 6 months ago, we're going to work on your systems and processes, I bet you would not have come onto this program.
Correct.
But it's not. But it's not until you've now seen the benefit of, oh my goodness, I'm now no longer, you know, spending time wondering about scope creep on clients and wondering whether I'm making profit from certain clients, and are some clients getting more than others, and spending your weekends tracking and monitoring, because we've got systems. Yeah, it's a bit painful at the beginning to get the systems in place, but once they're in place, you know, I say my business, I go on holiday to Egypt a lot, and I can see everything that's going on in my business just by opening a couple of systems. I can be on the beach, I could be on the moon, and I know exactly what's going on because there is a system and a process for tracking and monitoring. And so that, you know, we're working with as a business locally, it's a little bit like Pret a Manger, but not.
Right.
That's sort of type of business. They've got quite a few you know, branches, and so those quality control, wastage, you know, looking at the costing analysis for each dish, you know, what they're selling more of, what they're selling less of, you know, all of those types of things are all really important. And we're working with another business that wants to expand, you know, get new premises, and he's thinking, well, I can't be here in 2 premises at once. How can this business run when I'm not physically there? What if everyone doesn't do what they're supposed to do? How can I check? So the systems for that, you don't have to be sitting over somebody's shoulder looking at what they're doing. And obviously we've got a big work from home culture, haven't we now?
Yeah.
So a lot of managers or owners have that. And there's been a bit of a worry about sort of like presenteeism. If they're not sat at the desk, what are they doing? And, you know, that isn't, you know, it's not always necessary, because you can have systems and processes that track those outputs of what somebody's doing rather than the hours and the minutes.
I have to say, I've massively changed my mind on that since you came in. I was always very much of a, you know, I've always been come to work, you know, I'm of that sort of generations of come to work, you sit there, everyone can see you working, you know, or you at least you're present. But since you came in with, and again, by the way, you can get software and technology to help you with these things. So, which Nikki helps you with. So it's, you know, it's not all written and scary, because I'm a terrible writer and I hate doing that sort of stuff. So there's things out there to help you. So please, don't be put off by that. But for me, when you came in and told us about these different systems and things that in place that we could do, most of my team now work more from home. And I'm all right with that. I was never really all right with that, but now I'm all right with that. And that's because, and then do you think we are seeing that little shift in, you know, flexibility and just, you know, a new generation coming through that they don't want to be in an office, and that's all right as long as the work's being done?
Absolutely, you know, and there was a habit of tracking the hours and the minutes, but actually, do you really care about the hours and minutes? Do you care whether they were at the desk at 9:05 or 5:29? It's what work, it's the output, it's the capacity of work and the work output that gets delivered is what matters, not whether or not they popped, you know, they had an hour and 15 minutes at lunch because they went to a gym class, they didn't get back quickly enough. It doesn't matter. Giving people that flexibility to have a life outside of work, as long as the work still gets done. But I think that a lot of founders would feel reassured if they can see the work that's getting done and see what's being delivered. And when they do, they don't really care whether somebody's at the desk at 9:05. They don't really care whether or not somebody nicked off at 4:30 to pick up the kids to, you know, pop to Asda and do the weekly shop, and then popped back online again at 6-7 o'clock at night. But the benefits of that for a business, especially when you're in a place like Blackpool, because half of our radius is water. So our ability to attract, especially in digital, really good talent, the really good talent is often located in Preston, Manchester, London. And so typically, years gone by, they wouldn't commute to Blackpool. So you lost out on hiring that talent. Whereas now it opens up your pool of talent all the way across the United Kingdom or even across the world. And that has got to be a good thing for businesses.
Yeah, and I think also a good thing for, you know, people wanting jobs in Blackpool as well, that, like you say, they might say, I'm really good at it, but, you know, I've got to care for somebody, or, you know, there's children involved, or, do you know what I mean? There's something in a situation that they can't change and be tied to a desk, for example. And you could be losing out on that skill, and they could be losing out on a really good pay.
Absolutely. We've come across a lot of people who have disabilities, like neurodivergent people, who the anxiety of coming into an office, the commute, getting on it, they just can't take it.
But are brilliant at what they do.
Brilliant at what they do. They want to work part-time. I've got a couple of part-time staff that work 16 hours a week. And if they get up on a Monday and they think, I just can't, today is not a day for me, they can do it on Tuesday. I say, I don't care when you do your 16 hours, as long as deadlines are met. Yeah. And as long as that work gets done, if you want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because that works for you to deliver that work, you crack on and do it. Because I'm looking at what's being delivered, not the hours that you're there. And so all of a sudden, people who are maybe not already in the workforce, it gives them that inclusion and accessibility to be able to get a job. And how many talented people might there be out there who they just didn't fit? They're square pegs in round holes and they just couldn't fit into the 9 till 5 at a desk in an office with someone's stinky tuna sandwich. It just doesn't work for them. They've got children. Some of them have disabled children and they're always worried school might ring and they have to drop everything to go and pick the kids up. It just opens up so many opportunities for business if they can just open their eyes to that flexibility. And once they realise that they still have visibility and a certain level of control, they're usually comfortable with it.
Yeah. Please get into this because, like I say, it does open your eyes up to so many different variations of business, as it's certainly done with us. Nikki, you're sat there, part of this programme. You are the leader of this and has helped us out. Who are you?
Who am I?
Tell us about your... just your past.
So I started my first business, when I was at university as an undergraduate, and it was clothes and lingerie for women with big boobs.
Right.
And everyone always says to me, did you do fashion at university? Nope, I did English literature.
Right.
So not even really relevant. But it was something I stumbled across. I just stumbled across an unmet demand. Cutting a long story short, I got some samples made. I just dipped my toe in the water and sold online, bootstrapped it. It grew and grew and grew. And before I knew it, I was on Dragon's Den. I was receiving £250,000 worth of private investment. The company was employing dozens of people. We had our own factory. We're a multi-million-pound organisation, and it just kind of grew. And I learnt to sell online through the same mistakes that a lot of people make. Yeah. So what's really laughable now is that when I was looking to get a website, I was ringing up web developers and I said, I want a website, can you help? And they'd say, have you got a domain name? And I go, what's one of them? and they go, the web address. And I go, oh yeah, the web address. And then they go, have you got the hosting? And I'll be like,
yes, that.
And it took me years to really get my head around hosting. I'm like, what? It's like a little bit of space in the internet. And so because I've been through that process, when small businesses, new businesses come along, I know that they don't know what a domain name is, what hosting is. And I know how difficult a concept it is to grasp because I know how much I struggled. And when I launched my first e-commerce, I think that some naivety, I thought the magic internet fairies were going to bring thousands of people to the website. So can you imagine my disappointment when a week later I'd have 3 visitors, my mum, my dad and me well. Yeah. So I know that because I've been there, I've seen it so many times, you can't sort of buy that experience. I've seen so many e-commerces launch and they spend so much time on the website and the logo and the stock, but nothing for marketing, nothing for buying that traffic. And so a month later when they've had no sales, they're like, why have I had no sales? And I know that's what's going to happen because I've been there myself and I had to learn then about Facebook ads, about SEO, about email marketing, about how to sell online. And so I've learned with my own money and gambling my own money and spending my own money and eventually getting success, but after many, many years. And so that's what I can now pass on to those businesses who are where I was kind of 20 years ago. And I know that I don't look old enough to be doing that 20 years ago, but I was.
Yeah. But so like I say, you've been in very good hands with Nikki and the team, the Blackpool Growth Business Academy, and basically Nikki spent all the money so then we can not spend all that money to help us grow. So that's great. Listen, how can people get in touch with you guys? Obviously, if they want to, as we touched on before, about startup businesses, and that is literally like we did. If you're thinking of an idea, then how do we get that idea into fruition?
Yeah, so just go to the Blackpool Unlimited website and you'll see a drop down for business support, the growth academies. So just click on there. You can fill in an online form depending on whether you're a startup, whether you're a growth, or whether you're a scale up business. However, people can also find me on LinkedIn, Nikki Hesford. Just leave a little note to say that you've, in the invite, so I know that it's not a spammer or something like that. And connect with me personally, or contact us via the Small Business Academy, which is my company that's contracted to deliver this business support. So there's plenty of ways to get in touch. Email, telephone, LinkedIn, Blackpool Limited. Just get in touch with somebody in the team and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and especially growth businesses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Businesses that are established. This is for you. And like I say, we are absolute testament to that. It is absolutely for you that you're at a certain point, but you want to go to another point in your business. So yeah, it's not just for startups, it's also for growth and scale as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Nikki, it's been great. So thank you so much for talking to us. Thanks for joining us on the Blackpool Growth Business Academy, part of Blackpool Council. I will see you in the next instalment.